Live from the edge of the Great Red Divide, from that little blue island in the middle of America, this is the Heartland Mamas podcast. I'm your host, Heidi Henry. I want to tell you something really unbelievable that I found out today. Now, you realize that we have two strains of bird flu that no one's keeping track of, right? You understand that influenza A is those numbers have skyrocketed and are through the roof. COVID infections are way up. We have tuberculosis in 3 states. I mean, not just a few cases, outbreaks, and measles outbreaks in 6 states. But nobody is steering the boat right now because the National Institute for Health has been defunded, the CDC has been defunded, we're out of the World Health Organization. You know where I get my information from? I get my information from those doctors that were furloughed or fired from those positions that have taken to social media to keep people posted. They write Substacks so that we can know what's coming at us. But in the midst of all this, with no one steering the boat, because Orange Caligula, let me tell you what he was doing today. He went to the Daytona 500 and he got to be driven around the racetrack at the Daytona 500 in the presidential limo. Woohoo! Yippee! He's just like a little kid. He's so just surrounded by his fans, playing big boy, driving he wasn't driving the presidential limo. I'm pretty sure he doesn't know how to drive because he's been driven everywhere his whole life. You never see him, like a lot of very wealthy people also have a car. He does not have any cars that he drives himself. So he got to play big boy, race car driver. I mean, I'm sure that the presidential limo driver was having a blast driving that thing around the racetrack. But that little adventure for Trump to amuse a little toddler baby cost us $9 million for him to have fun at the Daytona 500 today. Then, for another $3.4 million, he went over to Mar-a-Lago and played a couple rounds of golf and spent the night. Meanwhile, we have epic flooding in the southern United States. We're still trying to figure out the California wildfires. We have two kinds of bird flu that have decimated flocks of birds all over. The Ottawa Kroger only had 60 dozen eggs the other day, and they ranged about $12 a dozen. But it was really important for Trump to go and play race car driver. Well, I don't know. What do you call that? Race car passenger in the presidential limo today? Because that's important. Good God. I mean, it just reminds me of, I know she never said it, but it reminds me of when Marie Antoinette said, well, let them eat cake if they don't have any bread. And he's going, I'm going to drive my little race limo, and because you people don't know what you're going to do next. I've fried the entire country in less than a month, but here I am in my presidential limo. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Good God. I mean, we thought the last time was bad. Did you ever think this was going to happen? I mean, I didn't have that on my bingo card. Did you? The Trump F's Up America racing the presidential limo at the Daytona 500 just did not have that on my bingo card. I need a better bingo card with more outlandish, outrageous things on it, because there's nothing he won't do to make himself happy. Nothing. Nothing he won't do to try to get applause and lauding from all of his, succubus friends. So the average pensioner gets about $65 a day from Social Security. $65 a day for food, housing, shelter, transportation, communications, everything. $65 a day. It doesn't go to and do enough to cover it. It just doesn't. Unless you've already paid off your house and don't have any debt, you can live a meager little life on $65 a day. It's not much. It certainly isn't going to take you to the Daytona 500. However, you get that for now. But Elon Musk, who makes $14 million a day of our U.S. taxpayer dollars in subsidies for his businesses from the U.S. government and government contracts, doesn't think grandma should have $65 a day. Now, this is a man that was raised by a family that owned emerald mines with connections to Nazi Germany. That's where his family's from, originally. They weren't really from South Africa. They were from Germany, from Nazi Germany, and escaped to South Africa before the end of World War II. Um, cover your ass and pretend that you just own an emerald mine and that's all you do. That's all you've ever done. But that's a lie. So Elon Musk, who could not have grown his fortune in South Africa, they would have taxed him and he couldn't have done it. Come to America, where we'll give you $14 million a day to do nothing, destroy the government. You do that. And so that's what he does. And I was thinking about it today. Trump is being driven around the Daytona 500 because he's never driven himself anywhere. Like, he doesn't have a Nissan or Toyota somewhere where he drives around town, because that never has happened ever. And so for him, it's like that time he got in the big 18-wheeler at the White House and got in and beeped the horn and pretended he was driving. God, he's such an idiot. So $14 million a day Musk doesn't think grandma's $65 a day Social Security is warranted. So ladies and gentlemen, we have to do something. We have to do something. I just came home from an Indivisible meeting not that long ago today. It was a great meeting. It's like getting your batteries recharged, hanging out with like-minded people. It really seriously is. We've got to keep up on phone calling, to our elected officials. We've got to keep them, hold them accountable. We've got to let them know, even if they think, you hope that they think like you, and especially if they don't think like you need to call them and hold them accountable. Elon Musk is not our president. He's not elected. He's not appointed. He couldn't pass a security clearance. He has no business all up in our business. And so far, the court system has held really strong on this, but we can't get the Trump administration to follow the court rulings. Now, I think we should pack Elon Musk's bags and send him back to South Africa and tell him he can't ever come back here. I mean, that to me is the right thing to do. And it's up to, and his little Dogebag friends, they need to go too. Some of them are U.S. citizens. A lot of them aren't. So they need to go. They need to go already. They don't amount to anything. They don't make good choices. If they were my little 19, 20, 25-year-old child, I would, this is just a turn of phrase. It really doesn't mean what you think it means. I'd put the chain over their nose and back them down the driveway. It's something that we used to say in the horse world. We didn't really mean it. It was just kind of I'm so frustrated. This horse is not behaving. This is what I'm going to do. In my lifetime, I've never done it. So, and I've been training horses since I was 12. And I'm much older than that now. So while we have all these things going on, all this disease running rampant in the United States, and all of Europe horrified by what they're seeing, all the world horrified by what we're doing over here, except for Putin, who's just like, ha ha ha, this is great. We have to really be careful with ourselves. I want all of you to consider your vaccination status right now. And I'm going to go ahead and clang the bell here. If you haven't gotten a vaccination this year for anything, if you haven't kept up on your COVID vaccinations, if your measles vaccination is more than 50 years old, if you haven't gotten a flu shot, you need to trundle yourself on over to the grocery store, to the corner drugstore, and get your vaccinations updated. With RFK Jr. in the office, looking after our health right now, an IV drug user who put a dead bear in the trunk of his car and then dumped it in Central Park. And I can't even believe I have to say that, because again, all the weird crap that I have on my bingo card, I don't have weird enough crap on my bingo card, as in presidential limo does laps on the at the Daytona 500. Good God, who saw that coming? Not me. It was not on my bingo card. I just want you to take care of yourself. And part of, I have dogs and cats and horses and sheep and goats, and we keep them vaccinated. I keep myself vaccinated because I remember when polio and mumps and measles and chickenpox were ravaging the families in my neighborhood. And I knew, still know, people who are suffering the side effects of having polio in the 50s. You have to take care of yourself. We're in for a long fight, at least 4 years of fight. And you have to gird your loins and take care of yourself. And part of that is making sure that your vaccinations are up to date while you can get them, because God only knows if we're going to be able to have vaccines much longer. Um, Kennedy is anti vax and doesn't mean that any of us are safe. And those of you with small children or small grandchildren, you need to really have those conversations and try to get everything up to date. I I can't imagine with the amount of disease we have in this country right now. I mean, can you imagine what we look like to the rest of the world? Don't let them come over. They might bring that with them. I mean, seriously. So take good care of yourself. I do take a lot of supplements, but don't fall down the supplement hole. You need to you need to really talk to somebody who knows supplements before you just start taking stuff, because it you can't metabolize it all and you're going to pee a lot of it out, and you don't want expensive pee. So you need to make sure that if you're going to supplement yourself that you do it wisely, but moreover, trust in science. Trust the science that we've lived with, that has protected us and kept us safe and healthy as a society. I am going in Tuesday to get a measles booster because my measles shot is over 50 years old. My initial measles. I don't want to get measles at my age. I don't want to bring it home to my husband. It'll kill him. So take care of yourself. That's your job. That's not my job. And we need to be able to look after ourselves the best we can. I am fortunate enough to live in Illinois that values health and education. Public works, we value a lot of stuff in Illinois. Uh, we're always forward thinking. We always want to think about how we can be better, not how do we stay the same. So I think that's a couple things as I wrap up today. I want you to think about how you could take better care of yourself, and I want you to think about how you can help your government, your elected people, local and federal, and statewide, how you can get them to do their job better. So we're going to talk a little bit more about activism as this week goes on. I'm just, God, I will, seeing the presidential limo zoom around the Daytona 500 is something that'll be etched in my memory forever. So from the edge of the Great Red Divide, from the little blue island in the middle of America, this is the Heartland Mamas podcast. I'm your host, Heidi Henry. I will see you later. Take care of yourself. That is the most important advice I can give you, because the government agencies that we have paid for and trusted to do that hard work for us either no longer exist or are in danger of closing down. So we need to make sure that we do our due diligence and take good care. Bye-bye.